All right, it's Friday, March 17th. This is an end of the day and end of the week SPY recap. And today we end up with a inside bar, number one bar, that's inside the high and low of the previous day. It's skewed a little bit to the downside, going a little bit below the pre-market range between the blue lines. And now we kind of, while we don't know where it's going to go next week, we have some good levels to monitor in terms of some of the big picture context. So maybe I'll get into that first before discussing today's opportunities, which were pretty clear. First of all, in terms of the week now, you can see here we end up with a kind of a two down bar that's a little bit green, but we have the buying tail up in, the selling tail up in here. So in order to get the actionable signal into next week, we have to get above the high of the week, which was kind of the high of yesterday, to set that off. Also, we have the Federal Reserve with their announcement, so the market obviously seems to be waiting for that, and that's going to bring in some interesting volatility. But you still have to get above that level to confirm the weekly change to the upside, and we don't know where that's going to go. What you have here coming into Monday, though, is the inside bar. So we'll see where things open up on Monday. Inside bar, there's an actionable signal up here that could take out that weekly high and trigger that. But if we go one down, then we start having these various targets down here. Now, the interesting thing with the one bar, I always say this, is those bars can fail, and those are really the best signals when they go up and fail, and then you come back through the range, or you go down and fail and come back through the range. So you're going to keep an eye on that. The week's going to open up trying to go one way or the other, most likely, and we'll see if it continues or fails, and that's going to be an important indicator. On the monthly chart, we're back to red. For a moment yesterday, we were starting to turn green. So we still have this two down month that has these targets down here with 2 weeks to go. So plenty of time to do that if the market wants to continue lower, which at this point, that's still what it's signaling. And now we kind of have a monthly open to monitor. As long as we kind of stay below there, we'll stay biased to the downside in the big picture. And yesterday's big move up, as I kind of discussed in the closing video, is a possible just a failure move. In other words, on the 15-minute chart, if you zoom it out, you can see here we just kind of, on the overall downtrend, just get a little bit of a 1, 2, 3 pullback, taking out the highs for liquidity purposes, and maybe we're starting right back down again. So a lot's going to happen in terms of this inside bar. Even though it's a tight bar, the breakout one way or the other, and whether you continue or fail is going to kind of tell the entire story for the rest of the month. So we're going to look into that. In terms of today, very trading was pretty clear. We knew we had the green bar that were kind of opening up near the midpoint of that bar, but near the low of the pre-market range that, could have definitely continued higher and taken that out. But we see here on the 15-minute chart, the first bar gave us nothing. And then it was kind of interesting in terms of how it tried to chop around here before eventually heading lower. First of all, if you look at that first bar, you didn't know what to do. Then all of a sudden on the bar two, let me go to the 5-minute chart because that's what I was watching at the time. You can see here the way, now it's real important. Let me try to zoom this in a little bit. Well, not that way. Let me go this way. When you want to look at this, what's happening, if you look at the first 3 5-minute bars, they kind of started neutral. Then all of a sudden, that first bar on the 5-minute bar went down. It looks like you were going to maybe take out that low and get a red bar. But within one bar, you came green, you came up and failed that downside, and then you started up. Now, this bar right here, it's hard to see it, but it's a little neutral bar. So now you're nothing after bar two. Then on that second, on the third 15-minute bar, the very first 5-minute bar went up green. It looked like you might be getting a breakout to the upside, but within the second bar, you kind of went down. So now all of a sudden you're still neutral. And it was at the very end of this bar, the last 5-minute bar, where you got the shooter bar on the 15-minute chart, and that signaled you to go short. And I shot a video on that. So you can see here, with all this choppiness in play, the first bar, nothing. This bar, even though it looked like it was kind of heading down, it was only the first 5-minute bar, so you got to wait. Here was the first 5-minute bar breaking up, so you got to wait. And then finally, you can kind of get aggressive towards the end of the 15-minute bar. And that's kind of what I wanted to point out. When you're watching these 15-minute bars, you got to kind of wait till they close or be near the end of the bar. Anyway, once you got that going, let me zoom it back out again. You had you were going to take out this the pre-market lows here, which I discussed, and then it was a matter of you're going to fail there or continue. It turns out you just paused and continued, and then you kind of had a little bit of a 1-2 push down on it, what I was describing as an inside day. So there was an opportunity within your morning trade to take very nice gains. Then I was talking about looking for a secondary trade to the downside. I talked about this as a fair value gap. I talked about how probably you're going to take out this high right here. I tried a trade here that I broke even, and I didn't really feel strongly about it, and I discussed that. And then there was a secondary sell trade in here, whether it was on the QQQs or the SPYs, that went down to the lows of the day for the SPY, and there was your opportunity for a sell signal here back to the lows of the day. So there's your typical day structure in terms of what I look for. First move of the day, looking for, then given the structure of the day, looking for another push to take out that low of the day. So there was, push number one, then here's target number 2 on the day, and you hit that, and then we close here, kind of red, but inside. So let's see what happens next week. Again, this inside bar and where we go, whether we head up and continue, or whether we head down and continue, or whether we fail on either of those is going to be very important. We'll get into that next week. And it's kind of a critical, time right here with 2 weeks to go in the month. Are we going to really reverse this entire downtrend and start up? We have to get an actionable signal above that weekly high, or are we going to really be following the monthly chart back down? And price action will lead the way. And again, you got the Federal Reserve announcement that's going to throw in a little volatility. So let's see where we go next week.